So variables. Variable basically is a space you can put your value. For example, this is a space, okay, in memory, and the coffee is the value. That's it. Space to store your value. Okay, this there is different types. Okay, there is an address, string, boolean, and integer. This is the biggest one. Okay, address. We start with the address keyword, the name of address, and the address represent an Ethereum address. There is a two type of address: external owned address, which means the address of wallet, the owner, the person, and the smart contract address. And why we need the address? Okay, the address is very important in the Ethereum blockchain to get the funds, get the data, sign up to the applications. Many things you can do using the addresses. And the string, we start with the keyword string, name of the string, and the input. So basically it's just a string. Yeah, just a string. And the boolean, basically it's a true or false. Start with the bool and the name of boolean and true or false. Okay, integer, the biggest one. Integer variables. So integer, there is two types: integer and integer. Integer accept negatives number and positives number, and integer accept just positive. That's it. How to declare? Basically, int keyword and max supply equal to, so the name of the variables and the value. And here is 8, and here is another one, int 256. This is the number of the byte, so the size in the memory. Okay, if the number is small, so this number will take a small size in the memory. If it's big, and we don't know how this will take in the memory, so we choose a big size for us. For example, 8, basically it's 8 byte and 256 byte. Like what do you think one day is? We don't know. Maybe 1000, maybe 2000 of second, of course. So that's why we choose the biggest one, which is 256, to store this number. Because if we choose, for example, 8 byte, maybe one day more than that, then the range of the int 8. So there's a problem. Okay, here, wait time, the day is 86400 of second. That's why we store it in this one, int 256. Here's a table of those, because there's not just 8 or 256. Okay, int 8 byte. The range is between 0 to 255, which means more than that you have to use another one, more byte. And there is int, for example, 16, 26 bytes, 0 to 65535. int 180 28 02 blah blah blah. int 256 02, the biggest one, billion or trillion or what is it? Okay, that's it. And sometimes you find just int without specific the byte. So in this case, by default is the biggest one, which is int 256. And that's it in the int. I hope this is makes sense. If it doesn't, We will see more examples in the calculator project as well as in the classroom project. Okay, please always, if you don't know how the number will be, for example, 1 day, 1 year, 1 week, you don't know how second in 1 week, for example. So always choose the biggest size for it, because if you don't, you choose, for example, a small one, like you went 8, you went 16, we'll take the max of this. For example, you went 8 to 255, and then the rest of this will gone. And this is a problem, a big problem, and a lot of developers do this mistake. So what is a functions? Basically, functions is repeatable task, which means, for example, we want to increment a number, so we create a logic functions, and every time we want to increment, just to call these functions. Okay, that's what is a repeatable task. That's it. So let's move on to the struct of the functions. Okay, basically, so if you have a background in JavaScript, Python, okay, any programming language, okay, it's the same. But if you have no experience, nothing, okay, it's fine. We explain everything. Okay, first we start with the function keywords, then the name of the functions, then we specify the type, the visibility, and the type of the functions, and the last we specify the type of the return. That's it. So the visibility, basically we decide, is this functions public, which means visible to everyone can call it, contract itself, external contract, another wallet, anyone can call this functions. Or private, just we want to make this functions call inside the contract, or in internal, there is multiple. So first, as I said, can be public, can be used internally and externally. So we can, for example, this add functions, we can call it internal the functions, the contract, and external. So any contract can call these functions. Anyone, any wallet can call these functions. Or private. Private basically can be used within the contract. So if there is a variable we mark private or a functions, which means this variable or functions just visible within the functions. So within the contract. So the contract itself can call this variable or this functions. Internal. Okay, basically internal can be used within the contract. Okay, like private and other inheriting contracts, which means within the contract, it's clear, but other inheritance, not other contract like public, no, inheritance contract. That is for example, this basic calculator. Okay, this add functions is internal, and the advanced calculator inherits these functions. Inherit basically, okay, we explain what is inherent in coming lessons. Just here, okay, just say the advanced calculator inherit all the logic of the basic calculator, and yeah, so there is a add functions here and subtract. Why? Because it's internal. And external can only be accessed from external contract or account. Basically, it's opposite of private. So the add function, for example, it is external. which means we cannot call it within the contract, just only external wallet or other contact, and that's it. So view and per functions. View functions is functions for reading the state into the blockchain, not updating the state, just reading. For example, this getter functions is just for read the value of the result, and the result is stored into the blockchain, and by calling these functions we just display the value of result. That's it. And per functions is not for reading and not for update the state. Is not updating the state, not reading the value. It's just for do some logic independent of the blockchain. Like for example, add functions. Basically, get two variables a and b and return their additional a plus b. That's it. So a is not storing into the blockchain. No, it's locally, not global. That's it. And those functions is for free in the blockchain. But updating the state, like for example, add some variable to the result, and this update the state of the blockchain. In this case, you have to pay some fee. That's it. Okay, arrays. So let's say what is an array. Arrays basically it is a list of 6. That's it. Like for example, a list of boxes. Every box has a data and has an index, the number. Okay, for example, box 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And there is an array, for example, Naz, Victoria, Dan, and Harry Potter. The more important here is the index here. Okay, the index. This index is useful if you want to access some data into an array. So, and the index always starts with 0, like any programming language. Start with 0, not 1, 0. So 0 is Naz. 1 is Victoria, and so on. So how to create an array in smart contract? There is a several way to declare an array in a smart contract. First, we start with the type. Let's say string, address, bytes, and so on. So in this case, it's you wait, square bracket, and it's public, visibility, and of course the name. There is another way. If you want to initialize this array with some data, let's say braces 1, 2, 3, list of things. In this case, list of numbers. And of course, you can fix the size. It means say, hey, I want store in this array 10 elements in max. That's it. So in the memory, you create an array with 10 elements. Start with 0. Say all element initialized to 0, and string 5 public name. So this array accept 5 names. And to get an element, an array, it's say there is an array, the values, and here every values has an index. So basically, put the index of the value in array, and you will get the value inside this index. Like this. Okay, function get un I public view returns uins returns array eyes. And if you want to get basically in return you have to specify the braces, which means I want to get a full array and return the name. That's it. Otherwise, if you want to add some element in array, for example, array examples, this is a dynamic array. It can be resized, which means if you don't specify the size, it will resize every time you add an element. For example, first it's empty, so one element actually. Add an 2 elements, so the size is 2, 3, and so on. It's opposite if you fix the size. For example, in this case, This is a fixed size array. You went 5 public fixed size. It cannot be resized, which means if this array it's full, for example, there is a 5 elements, you cannot add another one. That's opposite if you declare a dynamic array. And to add an element, basically the name and dot push value. Add a new element to the end of the array. So, for example, it's like a pool. There is a body. Push another one. Okay, add another one. Then tack, and so on. So you cannot add it in center or bottom. And if you want to, and the function get dynamic array length, the size, you want to get the size, basically the name dot length, return the length. This is useful for the dynamic array, of course, because the fixed array, that's fixed, so always get 5.